Yeah, we were just gonna do a little fill-in on the Alaskan hiking trip video. We'll try to add a little context where there's some missing because first time filming something like this, so it was pretty jerky, but try to give you all a little bit of a context of what's going on.
Some missed scenes due to just trying to stay alive while they were occurring.
Get some good context of what we were doing.
So basically, I was working in Kodiak for the summer and in the city, and I wanted to go and visit the Pingrees that live in Uganic Bay
on the
across
west side
the
of the
island. Yeah, and I looked at the map, and I thought, I could do that in 2 days, maybe one. So
well, you were wanting to hike there to save money on not having to buy a plane.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to get a plane ticket, so I was like, I'll just hike over and visit them maybe the 4th of July weekend or something, and be back in time to get back to work. And so, anyway, so I was like talking to people in town and at the church I was going to, and like trying to find somebody who would do it. And everybody said, "Oh, that's kind of crazy," you know. They didn't think it was a good idea. And so, as far as I can tell, there hasn't been anybody in recent times taking the same trail we did. They all cut it short and fly in to Hidden Basin, which cuts almost half the trip off.
Yeah.
A good third of the trip is cut off. So we went from Kodiak town.
The road system.
The road system. So actually, one of my coworkers dropped us off at Kashavirov Mountain.
All right, Mike and I are on the trail today, and we've been blessed with an absolutely glorious day. We're hiking up to the top of the first mountain, Mount Kashavirov. You can look around. Here's the bay. There's Caveman. It's flat out gorgeous. We've been blessed with incredible weather to start out the trip with. All right, we'll check back in a couple of hours. Day one. So here we are. We made it to the first saddle. And it's absolutely stunning day. All right, so we made it on top of this flat here, and that over there is Center Mountain. All right, we are about 10 miles into the journey. Feeling good. Definitely feeling it a little bit. But that right there is the foot of Center Mountain, or the top of Center Mountain. I'll zoom in on it here for you all. Pretty cool stuff. And we are gonna side hill around the base of it through that scree field and go up through the draw of that valley. Having an incredible time here, and the weather is awesome. We're gonna keep trucking. We just hiked over from that ridge all the way over there, came across here, and we're directly underneath the foot of Center Mountain right there. Mike is still carefully picking his way across the shale field here. There you can see him right there. So we're hiking here, we're making good time, and I just had to take a picture of this beautiful river in this high alpine valley. It's just, God's creation is absolutely stunning. I'm gonna zoom in here and see if you can see that collar. It's just like crystal clear. It's pretty incredible. You can kind of see the big picture here. We have to go right through the gap in that mountain right there. We're making real good time. We know where we're at on the map, so it's a good day. We are having a blast. How you doing, Micah?
Hanging in there.
What do you think of this?
It's pretty intense, but it's awesome. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. We came side hill across that whole scree field right over there. Pretty crazy above that snow patch. All right, so this is pretty incredible, epic-y right now. The last video I left you all, I showed you a gap in the ridge that we had to climb up. So we've been hiking really hard for the last hour and a half. We came through the gap, which is up through there, and now we're actually sitting on the side of the mountain looking at, we've determined where we're at on the map, and Crown Mountain is just that way a little bit, but we're looking at this massive ridge in front of us, and there is goodles of mountain goats on it.
Discovered.
Lots and lots of mountain goats. I'll see if I can show you all. I only have 12 zoom on this camera, but there's lots of mountain goats on there. Let's see. Yeah, there's, you can see some specks of some. Up there, there's like a herd there. There's 2 or 3. There's one at the bottom of this rock slide. It's just so gnarly. I can't believe how steep it is. You can look out at the bay over there. That is what bay is that? Some sort of Indian name bay.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. Here's Mica. He's feeling it, but
Definitely.
he's doing good.
So quiet.
It's incredible. We are definitely riding a high right now, but we need to get off this rocky scree stuff and find a suitable camp spot for the night.
This stuff's no good.
Yep. So
Sleep on.
yeah. There we go. Let's say there we go. At this point, I wish I had a nice camera with more zoom or a pair of binos. It would be nice to see how big he was. This goat's for you, David. Got a whole bunch of goats right here. They're not too far away. Maybe 200 yards. See, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those things are nuts. Pretty cool. Okay, so something crazy, just really crazy happened this afternoon. So we've already probably hiked 15 to 16 miles already, and we had just gotten to the spot here where we set up camp. And we look over the valley, the direction we're going, and here comes 2 hunters up. And they'd actually driven 4-wheelers 9 miles down the same trail that we had walked in, and then looped around the front side of Center Mountain, and they were goat hunting. Anyways, we'd seen a bunch of goats on the way in this valley, and I told them kind of where they were, and they went on. We set up camp, and all of a sudden we heard boom, 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 4 shots. I went over there, and they had doubled up on billies, so I was able to help them drag the goat. It had fallen off like a 50-foot waterfall. Landed like this glacier thing, and helped them drag it out. Got the pictures of the 2 buddies together with their goat, and then one of the buddies' headlamps had went on a fritz, so I have 2, so I gave them one of mine, and they were pretty tickled about that. What an awesome experience. Got to see a dead mountain goat, and did a lot more hiking. I'm kind of bushed now, but we're gonna get some sleep, and we'll see y'all in the morning. The biggest lessons from the first day is we had a GPS along, but we were trying to conserve the battery on it. So I was doing most of the navigating with a map and compass. And sometime around the early afternoon on the first day, I became convinced that we were somewhere on the map that we weren't, and I was matching landmarks around what I was seeing on the map, which is a mistake. But anyways, we made camp the first night thinking we were a lot farther along than we were.
and these goat hunters
Yeah, the
come
goat
strolling
hunters.
up the valley, and they disagreed with our where we thought we were.
We thought we were right, but it turns out, of course, they were right.
And what they said matched the GPS. So we kind of came to the conclusion, we're like, we reevaluated, and we thought we'd already passed Crown Mountain, or we were right at the foot of it. And they said it was a ways off, you couldn't see it yet.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Good morning. It is the morning of day 2 on our epic wilderness survival hike, and we are on the road. You can see that lake down there. That's where we spent the night. That's Crown Mountain up there.
There's no scale.
Yeah. And this is Mica. How'd you sleep, Mica?
All right.
Yep.
Stiff.
Yep. Morning of day 2. We're in great spirits. We made a lot of time yesterday. We're gonna bomb up the rest of this ridge, and hopefully we'll be showing you all Terror Lake in a couple hours. Once we reach Terror Lake, that's a really big halfway spot for us. So we're having a blast. All right, we'll see you all in a bit.
Yep.
All right, so I got the second Tarmy of the trip here. Originally coming on this, I would plan on bringing a 22 pistol for shooting, just because I'm a little bit more accurate with it. But at the end, looking at weight and everything, I just kept my 45 and went for some ball ammo. I thought with some body shots I'd be able to get him, but yesterday I hit 2 or 3 in the body, and that didn't work really well. So I told myself headshots from here on out, and I just shot one straight through the head at
Smoked it.
like 10 yards. So.
And right on the top of this mountain too, like in the absolute middle of nowhere up here. Okay, that view is awesome though.
Day 2 has been absolutely off the charts sketchy. Around 9 o'clock this morning, right after the last video, we realized we were not where we were. Long story short, we are now where we thought we were. The GPS, the country is absolutely intense. It's absolutely
Alright, good evening y'all. It's the end of day 2 and we are beat. It has been an insane day. I think I'm going to let Micah kind of give us the highlights.
No, it was pretty special. We thought we'd passed Crown Mountain and we weren't even close yet, but we got this fog just rolled in, this dense fog. And we couldn't see anything, and we went down into this valley, came down out, and we're like, okay, the compass says we gotta go this way, and we can't see what is there, and we just start climbing and climbing, and that mountain's name is officially Death Mountain, because we got like 2/3 of the way up, and I don't even know, it is well beyond 45-degree angle. And it was so steep. I looked down, I'm like, interesting, that is gonna be, it won't last long if you trip, because there was nothing to stop you, that's for sure. But no, Jonah was up ahead and was finding the good paths to go, so it just was slow, just picking our way up. But it just kept going up and up, and you couldn't see how far it was down or how high. We were kind of wrapping around the hill, and we didn't know how much higher we needed to go, really.
Yeah, you couldn't see the bottom, of course.
There was no judging it.
Yeah.
And so like Joe said, it's just basically was, at some point it was just rocks, and pretty much just climbing straight up. And, with a heavy pack on and all, and at one point I was just shaking, and I was all out of energy. And I looked down, and there was nowhere to sit. I'm like, I leaned slight incline in towards the rock and looked down, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm done. Yeah, I'm dead. So I'm like, I don't know how long I'll be conscious rolling down the hill, but hopefully just a couple hits on the head and I'll be out. And but Jonah was just a little bit up ahead of me, and he's like, "Oh, you just a little farther, man." He's like, "You can do it, dude. There's a spot we can rest up here."
Yeah.
And yeah, God just helped me through that because I was toast. But
we finally climb out of the rim rocks, and it was like the most epic map reading session ever. It's blowing 20 miles an hour and rain, and so yeah, we spent the rest of the day looping around Crown Mountain. We finally got into the main drainage on what would be the west side of Crown Mountain. And the last 2 hours of that day were side healing and trying to get off of the side hill before it got dark.
Yeah.
And like,
it was just about dark.
Yeah.
By the time we got down.
Incredibly steep side hill.
There still was nowhere flat.
Yeah, nowhere flat. And then below the side hill was all dirt jungle. Yes. It was also not flat. And so we could see up ahead, we could see the valley widen out flat. It was like a glacier. And that's what we were trying to get to before it got dark. And we just kept going. And
There was just a bunch of big boulders sitting there, and it just got marshy too.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, we made camp that night in a bear trail, because that's the only flat spot we could camp.
Yeah, he's like, Jonah's up ahead of me a little ways, and my ankles are pretty sore after all that high side hill, and so I was lagging behind. And he's like, "Oh, Micah," he's like, "I found a spot." It's like, just big enough to put our tent on that's kind of flattish. And he's like, "Oh," he's looking around, like, "What?" there's literally the only flat spot around. There's like piles of bear crap in it, and so he's like, "We can move on, or we camp here." I'm like, "No, camp here." But yeah, so no broken bones or cracked skulls, so I'm counting it a success.
Yep. And then we actually made a pretty big detour on the map. We covered a modest distance, but on foot we probably went 5 or 6 miles out of the map. Finally, just this afternoon, really pinned us down where we're at. And definitely recalibrated our goals. We're hoping to make it out of this valley that we're in tomorrow and kind of get on the same ridge and start working our way down towards Mount Glotov and maybe camp somewhere around Mount Glotov tomorrow evening. But we're having a blast. The Lord's been really good to us, keeping us safe.
That's
and
for sure.
We'll see y'all in the morning. Good morning. It is the morning of day 3, and it is pretty unhospitable out. You can see the rain fly.
Yeah, a little damp.
Yeah, like walking in a foggy cloud that's blowing 30, but
that's a rainforest this morning for sure.
Yeah, we're in good spirits, and
minus the trees.
Yeah. We're getting all dressed up here, rain gear and such, whatnot, and we have a route mapped out on the GPS, so we shouldn't do as much wandering around as we did yesterday. Fairly straightforward. We'll probably only cover about 6 miles a day, but we'll be doing good if we get to our waypoint. So we'll see y'all later on. So I don't know if you can see it, but we've been hiking up through this pass here, and it was just blowing rain like 20 and just absolute miserable. We're getting onto this backside, and all of a sudden the sun is clearing away the fog, and there's a rainbow right out in front of us. This is absolutely incredible.
This is like a gate, like an arch.
Yeah,
right,
and like the ends look like they're landing right out in front of us.
That's awesome.
Yep. Alright, so we are working our way to day 3, somewhere in the country just east of Terra Lake, and it's just crazy rugged. Here's a waterfall, it's just out in the middle of nowhere. Pretty crazy stuff. So you can see just a sheer ruggedness. What do you think, Micah?
We're getting there, slowly but surely.
We're definitely probably halfway.
Yep. Scenery's definitely just as amazing as I thought it would be. Just the wow factor of just when you look at it, you're like, wow, it's beautiful, but holy cow, it's gonna take us a long time to get there.
Yeah. It's definitely a whole nother level of sketch. But we're doing it. We're gonna keep on plodding away, being safe. Alright, we'll catch y'all later. So, we made it to Tear Lake. It was actually pretty incredible. We were up top of that ridge and it completely fogged in. I was feeling pretty overwhelmed, and then the lower part of the clouds, and we were able to see the lake, and we're actually headed down into that end, and we need to cross that ridge right there. But once we get on top of that ridge, then it literally is all downhill to Ten Mountain, which is where the Fingers are. So we can get over that ridge, we're well over halfway.
Yeah, there's all sorts of blueberries all along this hill here at Terror Lake. I don't know what Jonah's doing. He's going crazy on this. All these little bushes here are just, there's a bunch of blueberries mixed in them. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Alright, so we are at the third night of camping. It is an incredible evening. The fog lifted. It was an absolute miracle. And we've come all the way from that peak over there. And we are going to send it up that hillside in the morning. It's really steep. It's gnarly. But I think we can do it, and it is a whole lot better than trying to cross the glacial top of Mount Galatov. So but it's been an incredible day. Definitely some lower moments, but with the fog clearing, us being able to see, there was a lot of uncertainty about how we were going to cross this Tear River Basin, and I think we're going to be able to get up here. There's a nice saddle in between the mountains. Once we get up this steep green part, I think we're going to have it, and then it's just going to be mostly downhill to the lodge. We should have a good portion of the really rough stuff behind us. So again, feeling incredibly blessed and just thankful for how the Lord's been with us on this trip and has kept us safe. We've definitely has felt like at times we've bit off more than we can chew, but we keep plugging away and we're getting there one step at a time. All right, we'll see y'all in the morning.
The really cool part of that day 3, we had when we got into that glacial valley the day before, we had about a couple more miles of that, and then off to the west side was just probably this 2,000 foot, what would you say? Yeah, on topographically speaking, a 2,000 foot mountainside that looked nearly vertical with like waterfalls coming off of it. Looked like something out of South America.
Yeah.
And so we paralleled that until we got to where a glacier had carved out a pass that we were able to hike up. That was shallow enough we were able to hike up. The only pass in the area.
That's the Widgeon Bowl.
That was the Widgeon Bowl, which we talked to some people afterwards that there was actually an old Roman widgeon that crashed there.
We were finding parts, and I'm like, some human artifacts here.
Yeah.
And there's bent up pieces of aluminum
plane
plate
crashed
stuff.
back in the 70s. But yeah, really interesting.
Good morning. It is the morning of day 4, and looks like we've been blessed with some incredibly epic weather. We're going for cold rations this morning in the defense of using this beautiful weather and trying to get up top before it gets foggy again, so we can get some good bearings. So we're sending it right up that hillside, and we'll be with you on top hopefully. All right. Well, we climbed hard and we busted out of the thick nasty, and we are up on the Alpine. It is a glorious day. Looking forward to a day of adventuring in the high Alpine of Kodiak. Should be a pretty great day. Making good progress. Micah, tell us about the wildlife we've seen so far on the trip.
There's, well, interestingly, for how far we've gone, I've only seen one bear.
And it was like 500 yards away.
It was so far, and it ran. We didn't even, before we even saw it, it was getting out of there. And saw 2 deer right when we were coming up, catch a bear off. But see, it was the last night's camping spot. There was we were walking right down the trail, and a doe with 2 fawns just came down the trail and just stopped them. They were looking at us like that. It was awesome, and they spooked off. But
what have we seen a lot of?
there's been boatloads of mountain goats. There's a ton of mountain
Makes you wonder if we're in the wrong train for humans.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
All right, well, we're gonna keep hiking. These bugs are nasty. All right, we've been climbing solid for probably an hour, and there is Mount Glothof, resplendent in all of her beauty. What a beast. Zoom in here and give you guys a little bit better of a look. Just huge glacier. You'd think we were in the Swiss Alps instead of Kodiak, but intense. Been blessed with just an incredible day today, and we're about over the hump. What do you think, Micah?
Really glad we didn't have to go over all that mess.
No kidding. Yep. I would say in a little bit we're going to be able to pop out and see onto the other side of the island, maybe even Kodiak Bay, but we'll see. Absolutely gorgeous up top here. We are gonna hike through that gap in those 2 mountains. And I would say when we get to that gap, we'll be able to lay eyes on Kodiak Bay. Absolutely incredible. All right, let's go. Top.
Incredibly quiet.
Beautiful. And we're pretty sure that is, I even remember that little peak to the side of it. That far distant mountain is Tent Mountain. Anyways, we're gonna keep on trekking here. Actually, we're not. We're gonna stop and eat oatmeal for lunch, since we ate a cold rations this morning. We're gonna find a sheltered place out of the wind and eat some oatmeal. Enjoy the outstanding weather. Well, we climbed down from where we ate oatmeal for lunch, and there's a really cool ice cave in this glacier. Really cool looking. And then there's Mica, and then these really pretty white, almost looks like cotton. I don't know what it is. I'll show you close.
Sure looks like cotton.
Interesting.
Wow.
But we're headed over to that ridge over there, and we can actually see Tent Mountain where we're ultimately going to, so that's really good. So we're on top of this ridge. We ate lunch behind that pointy peak over there. And we've crossed that bowl. We're on top of this ridge. Instead of side hilling, which now seeing it, I think we made the right choice.
Yeah, no way we'd side hill that.
We have 4 or 5 easy ridge miles ahead of us. That's God's creation is in full splendor. You can see the upper Kodiak River down there, and in a little bit you'll be able to see the Kodiak Lake. That right there is Tear Bay. Not to be confused with Tear Lake, which we also had our share of problems with. And that should be the Tent Mountain complex. How you doing, Micah?
Hanging in there. Feeling the burn, but...
Yeah, we've been pushing. Stroking on my dad. And now we're kind of committed to getting off top of this mountain. We could camp up here, but if it turned into a gale, it would not be pretty.
I'm ready.
Good? You on it?
Yep. Oh. Dropped him like a rock that time, huh?
Did I hit it the first time?
No, I don't think so. Crazy, and there's the little guy flitting away over there too.
Yeah, because I headshot it. That's what I was aiming at the second time. Headshot with a 45 at 15 yards. Little tiny head, but hey, it's fun.
It's pretty awesome. There's Kodiak Bay way down there, and Helmet and Dog Ear Mountain, Sally Island, right up in there. Sure enough, we gotta head up that ridge there, that mountain, follow that ridge back up into the highlands, and we'll drop back down this side. But
Just
there's
on the other side of the island.
yep,
there.
a lot of alders down in there, a whole lot of alders, but
We push through other crap. We can do that.
yeah,
with others.
sure enough. There's some deer, 2 does.
Oh, there's 3, dude.
Oh, where's the third?
Right down there.
Oh, I see it. Cool. This field is just busting with ptarmigan.
Oh, there's 4, bro.
4?
Yeah, there's a one on top, 2 there, and then one behind that one, I think. Just finished doing or eating dinner here. There's Micah cleaning up. I'm about to go wash the dishes. Here's our camp. Absolutely incredibly beautiful sunset. I don't think I wish the camera did it justice, but it's insane. Just gorgeous. And had an epic day. Tomorrow we assault that mountain. The mountain itself is a piece of cake, but all of the alders at the base of it is not. So we will probably have a full day of slogging just to get to easy going. But once we get to easy going, it's probably a half a day to the Pingree. So we probably won't finish tomorrow, but we should definitely finish Thursday.
At the end of day 4, we could see all these alders we had to cross to get onto the mountain that's behind the lodge. It's the Tent Mountain.
Yeah. And we camped. Jonah was like, oh, this is a really nice spot. And it was a beautiful little spot, a little spruce tree, and it was flat and dry. And I was like, nah, man, let's go a little farther. Which,
yeah.
Honestly, it may have put us back too much to get to the lodge the next day. But,
Yeah.
we went on a little further, and it was probably the most miserable camping site of the whole trip.
Right before you
yeah.
got into the really thick alders, and it was like bog.
It was a mossy bog. The ground was soaked. It was like a foot or more of moss.
Yeah.
And the bugs were intolerable, but thankfully I'd packed some bug nets.
Yeah, that was a lifesaver. That was a lifesaver.
They were about to carry you off. They were pretty rough.
Good morning. We are morning of day 5, and we are cruising through the alders. A little brushy, but hey, we're making it. And this is a cool little lake down here. Really heavy deer trails along the edge. We've seen quite a few deer. Well, I wouldn't say quite a few deer. We probably saw 6 or 7 last night, but they're all been does. Hoping to see a buck. But having fun. Top of that mountain is our objective, and well, actually the saddle of that. I'd say another 3 hours of heavy bushwhacking and we'll be in the clear. See y'all then. So I was just walking up this hillside, and all of a sudden at 60 yards away there's a bear.
Oh, it's big.
And he stood up. Nice. And now he's worked up the hillside just a little bit, but there he is. I don't know, he's probably 100 yards away. Pretty cool. We made it out of the alders. What a brutal slog. Absolutely insanity.
No question about it.
But before us lies the Alpine train, which is quite easy to navigate, comparatively speaking. So we are gearing up and hitting the road for the last push to the lodge. We're kind of thinking that day 5 minutes is a possibility now, so we'll see you down the trail.
It was about lunchtime by the time we finally broke through.
Yeah. And then I think we had both thought that it was going to be that we were pretty much done, or we were a lot closer than we were once we broke through.
Yeah.
But we still ended up, I think it was like, what, 8 miles that we ended up
There
beating
was
the hike.
there was a lot.
And a lot of climbing too.
There was. It went real. I forgot how big Tent Mountain was.
Yeah, because there was several smaller mountains that we kind of had to cross.
Yeah, and there was a big bowl that we got up to, where the cannery lake. There's an old cannery down in Kodiak Bay, and that was where they got their water. And there was a cannery lake there. And we were coming down the bowl.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
And then this airplane, little float plane, comes buzzing over the valley, and pretty low down and close by. And Jonah starts like going like this, you know, and I'm like, hey, he's gonna think we need help. Maybe don't want to do that. And we kind of lost sight of him. And from
it was
the
just
mountain.
a really tiny little lake.
Yeah, tiny lake. And we came around where we could see the lake again. It was kind of obscured. And he landed. I was like, shoot, see, you did think we needed help. He's here to rescue us.
It turns out though he was just killing time. He dropped off some goat hunters, and he's been flying since 1979, and is like one of the best bush pilots in Kodiak. And was just wandering around for a little bit. So
it was cool. He walked with us for a little while.
Yeah, we got to talk with him. It was pretty cool.
That was fun.
All right, guys. Micah, where are we at?
On the top of, well, the edge of Tent Mountain. Just got past the summit. And
What do we see down there?
way down there, Quartz Creek Lodge. There's the old cannery too.
Yep.
Forgot that was there.
There's our destination.
We had probably, what, 2 hours left of daylight when we kind of got off to the front side of Tent Mountain. We could see the lodge.
Yeah, we could see there was the Quartz Creek, and it flowing down to the lodge, and then there was alders, dense alders, and there was this nice grassy patch, which in reality was probably like 6 foot tall grass, but would have been nicer than the alders.
Yeah.
Anyways,
We were going to try to hit that.
We were aiming for that.
Mike and I had both hiked up to the top of Tent Mountain from when we worked at the lodge, and we both knew that it was easier walking if you kind of stayed in the cemetery patches, but we came off the mountain on the way down and
completely missed it the whole way.
Yeah, we were too tired or whatever, but there was a bunch of just sliding through alders.
Really steep, and some pretty big alders, and it was getting dark on us fast.
Yeah, it was pretty well dark.
Yeah. So it was got a little interesting. There was some just like literally grabbing onto one altar and just kind of swinging down like, you know, Tarzan, just going, just so they were breaking on me. I was falling on my back, and I almost got hurt a couple times pretty good, but we covered some serious ground. And
when we finally started getting down, we knew that we were right by Quartz Creek, and so we knew that the launch was just right there. And we could hear the hydro for like, what, 15 minutes?
They hear the whine of the little hydroelectric system he's got.
Yeah.
We know we're getting close.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, we could see the Banya and the stairs that go down the creek right there.
Yeah. Civilization.
Yeah, like we stumble across the creek and pull ourselves up on the platform, and just that moment of realizing we made it was pretty awesome. But yep, then we made it to dinner. It was a pretty epic trip.